I just spent an entire week trying to figure out and process how I was going to make a review for this film, and God created the world in 7 days, and He rests on the 7th day. What the hell have I been doing wrong? Well, how's your week been, by the way? Welcome to this place where reviews are done, and this kid who's 22 years old thinks he can still get away with making videos without having a real job. I am your host, John Maffio, some nerdy kid who likes Star Wars, and this is the review for Steve Jobs. It's the latest movie about Steve Jobs, and it's directed by Danny Boyle. He directed 127 Hours, 28 Days Later, Slumdog Millionaire. He's a good director. It also stars Michael Fassbender as Steve Jobs, Seth Rogen as Steve Wozniak, Kate Winslet, and Jeff Daniels, among others. The story chronicles the life of Steve Jobs in a very creative and unique way over the course of 3 significant moments, or press conferences rather, in Steve Jobs' life. One in 84, one in 88, and one in 1998. 84 for the first Macintosh computer, 88 for a new development in Josh's life called the Next OS, and in 98 for the first iMac. It's essentially 3 elongated and sophisticated scenes of verbal action that also tell us about Steve Jobs, his brilliance, his downfalls, his flaws. We get a lot from this man in this movie, but it's not all entirely, non-fictional. It doesn't take away from the fact, though, that it shows Steve Jobs in multitudes of light, both good and bad. This movie, though, saw it at New York Film Festival a week ago. Been taking a while, I've been sitting on it, but the first words that came out of my mouth after watching this film were, holy shit. And it still stands. Steve Jobs is, so far, right now, my favorite film of 2015. I loved this movie. Aaron Sorkin is at a level of screenplay writing that just surpasses most other people. He knows how to write interesting characters while also making a compelling story, even if it is a little cynical and over the top in an obnoxious way. He beats you over the head with metaphors and analogies and things, but I love his type of writing. It's so quick, it's so witty, it's so sharp, and it always packs punches. His films are full of punches and action, but in a verbal dialogue type of way. Not a big action-y summer movie type of way, but in a more dramatic, ooh, that's deep type of way. It's a story that's organically and naturally told through these 3 long scenes, and you never see the actual press conferences. We cut to years later, right before the actual press conferences, but we learn so much about these characters, where they're coming from, and we also have a little core story between Steve Jobs and his daughter, and we have a great character arc for Steve Jobs, who is played brilliantly by Michael Fassbender. He doesn't look like Steve Jobs at all, but it really doesn't matter because his performance is compelling in a way where you forget about the fact that his physical appearance is totally off 5 seconds into the movie. As soon as the guy starts talking and starts engaging with other characters, you forget he's Michael Fassbender and you start realizing he's playing one of the best characters of his career and a man who has such an illustrious history. Seth Rogen plays Steve Wozniak, and you might think a guy like him might distract you and deter you from the experience because he's not at the same caliber as the other actors in this film. Well, guess what? You're wrong. Seth Rogen is great in this movie, and he's not in the movie a lot, but when he comes in, his scenes are impactful. Seth Rogen delivers his lines with a punch, and it's really incredible how I forgot that Seth Rogen was a comedian in this movie, and he was actually great. There are a couple scenes in this movie, without spoiling anything, where there's dialogue going on, but while this verbal intensity is going on between Michael Fassbender and Jeff Daniels, it'll cut to a different conversation between the same characters in a different location and time. And it's like this crazy sequence of action in a dialogue way that literally is one of the most memorable things I've seen from a filmmaking, editing, and screenplay standpoint in my life. The film is directed very competently by Danny Boyle, who has a nice vision of the story that is anchored by Aaron Sorkin's screenplay, but you do have scenes where you could tell that there are Danny Boyle isms, and there's no problem with that at all. It actually enhances the movie a lot. Where you may associate Steve Jobs as tyrannical, cynical, and egotistical, the film, by the end of it, shows you a light of Steve Jobs that isn't any of those adjectives, and it really does feel earned. It just really blows my mind that a movie like this, which is all talking, it's nothing but talking, even in Social Network, to compare this to another Aaron Sorkin written movie where things actually happen in between moments of dialogue, this entire movie is dialogue. Nothing but people talking to each other and having conflicts with each other. But those conflicts are so engaging, so compelling, and so interesting. The movie does not stop for a moment. And you are engrossed and entranced by these characters interacting with each other from the very moment the movie starts and from the very moment the movie ends. It is a non-stop thrill ride of talking. I loved it so much. It's my favorite movie of the year. Steve Jobs is a 5 out of 5 stars. It's MaffmanJones. See this movie as soon as you can. It's coming out in New York and LA in select theaters this week, and it'll be out nationwide the 23rd. David Fincher was supposed to direct this movie initially, and it was also supposed to star either Leonardo DiCaprio or Christian Bale. It was in both of their hands at some point during this film's production, its pre-production. Can only imagine how that would have turned out. I bet both of those actors would have turned in great performances, but I am so happy that Michael Fassbender played the role, and I can't see it any other way now. But now I want to know from you guys, if and when you see Steve Jobs, let me know what you thought about it down below. Did you love it like I did? Do you have unanimous praise, or do you have disagreements about it? Like this video, subscribe please if you enjoyed this video, and check out my social medias in the info box, my Facebook and Twitters. I'm John Maffio, aka MaffmanJones, and I'll see you guys next time.